What's up, everybody? I'm Jason, this is the Freebird Garage, and we are back on some FXR parts. Let me explain. Let's get to it. The flat tracker project, we are not diving back into that because we are held up on some delivery of parts. Heads have been shipped out to Hammer Performance. Talk to them. That's all been organized. We got a 6 to 8 week lead time because of obviously spring season, busy. Did not plan that part well. And I have everything ordered finally through the suspension and body and everything to make the flat tracker happen on the rest of the Sportster. Kind of doing 2 videos at once as parts roll in. There'll be kind of like a chain reaction, and I want to keep the motor continuously built, especially when you're building a motor. You just don't want to stop and be able to have it all put together. And then we can dive into the body and the rest of the flat tracker project when those parts arrive. So in the meantime, we have some FXR or FXRT parts to get ready on my bike that I bought back end of fall or which I can't quite remember, but it's a big project and this is just the first tedious part of getting that ready. I got a new concept I want to try for myself. I haven't really done before, so we're gonna see how this works out. It's pretty deadly, so let's see if it works out. And we are working on the clamshells, baby. We got these a while ago, like I just said. These are Conley clamshells. If you've ever heard of them, they usually make the fairings, but they made FXRT bags at one point or another, and they do not make them anymore. Got them off eBay for awesome steel. There's no major cracks or anything on these bags. That's why I really like them, but there are some nasty paint gouges against this fiberglass that my usual method of pretty much using metal body paint and all that to clean it up, I don't think this is gonna work. So we're gonna try this new way and see if this does. All right, let's get to it. All right, so here's up our first bag we'll be working with. Pretty standard, no major cracks, pretty smooth up here. Obviously we have some major paint damage up here against this fiberglass from whatever I'm assuming laid down at some point or dropped really heavily when they pulled it off or something or another, but enough to where I get my finger underneath this paint and it will chip right off as you hit it. So trying to use like a Bondo or rollover, I don't think it's gonna work really well, so I wanna use a paint thinner on this. That's the deadly stuff we're gonna be using here, is this paint thinner, and is pretty strict on what we need to do. Mask, gloves, do not do this indoors, do not inhale this. This is some deadly stuff that we are dealing with as compared to any type of paint thinner or paint or clear. It's pretty strict from the guy that sold it to me that the stuff prior to this stuff that was made, it was giving everyone cancer. So if it's good enough for cancer, then it must be good enough for us to remove the paint off this box. Like I said, these aren't original, and I got these for a really, really low price. So worst case, we get all this stuff off. Maybe I find some original ones in the meantime, but I really do like these. Conley made a badass bag for their aftermarket. They don't make them anymore, I'm assuming just because they probably put a lot of money into making these and they weren't getting the right profit out of it. And we're gonna take this apart and we're gonna essentially get into this, and we gotta hit this with an 80 grit, get it sanded down, and we'll be ready to rock to pour some paint remover on this. All right, let's get it done. All right, now we're gonna hit this with our 80. Do first is do a test run just on this cover, see how it goes, see how this stuff works, and see how safe this is, and then from there I have a stand and all that, but just want to get this done first, see what the first 30 minutes does, and take it from there. So our paint remover is moving a little bit slower than I imagined. It's starting to lift in some areas, and others it just looks like it's just sitting on top of it. So I'm gonna give it a little bit longer and see what it does, and we'll bring it in. So on the back side of these clamshells, there's obviously a lot of like highs and lows, quite a bit. And more work I put into fixing these holes means a lot more sanding and crevices I gotta get to. And I plan on primering these with my heavy primer, which pretty much takes care of most of the small blemishes. We got this big one, we got a couple here. These are all the rub spots, so I'm not too concerned, but still just want to give it a nice finish. And I picked up some proper stuff here. Before, I've used just like spot pinhole, which isn't correct on trying to fill holes like these or these or these. If you have small little pinholes, it's great. So I was recommended to use this stuff. It's called dolphin glaze, whatever that is, right? But the main part is that it is pinhole resistant when you're using that, which means when you're shooting paint and you had like a little bit of the spot putty, I don't know what the proper name would be, I use in my other videos, and you'll have it in your paint, it'll show up in your paint and get these little pops of the little divots, and they're the pinholes that crater itself after essentially reacting to the paint and your body material. So it's not supposed to do that. This is supposed to give us a smoother glaze and formulates like Bondo. But I guess if you ask the professionals, Bondo is frowned upon. But we're gonna mix it, see what it does here. So we're gonna put some down there, okay? Start off. Once again, all the warnings shine show how deadly this stuff is flammable wise. So hands covered up, making sure we're good. Put our activator in there. Should be hopefully good. We'll see. Experiment a bit. And I got this new pad device here so that it's easy cleanup. It's wild. Okay, we'll put some of that right in there. Might be a little too wet. That's all right. A little trial and error right now. Get that going here. We got these little divots up on this side here. Okay, seems to be filling in pretty good. There we go, now it's kind of starting to harden up a bit. And we'll hit this over here. And I know I'm missing some spots, here we go. Here. Making a mess over here. Okay, that should be about, oh, we got some spots up here. That's good, that's good. Like I said, luckily this is the back side. You rarely will see these unless they're being taken off. And they're always beat up because it's where all the wear, vibration goes, so it doesn't look absolutely perfect. It won't be bad. Okay. And let's see. Hit up a little here. Again, yep, there we go. Now it's doing what I want. It's getting nice and thick. It's probably what I should have did out there, but we'll see. Be interesting to see what comes out better. Stuff is actually really easy to work with. The Bondo stuff dried super fast and it was hard to apply over the stuff, so let that sit for a second. We can go back, let's look her over. Should be. Yeah, we got up here. Don't want to ruin the line of the bag. We'll sand that off too. And that's where the latch goes. I'm not too worried about that. That should be all of our marks. All right, let this dry for a second, see if we do a little sanding. We're back. It's been dried up about 30 minutes on this here. And I've already started sanding. It's coming out real nice. Blendable. Now, I'm using probably too heavy of a grit, 80 grit. Should be about 180. I don't have 180 on me. But I put a lot extra in there. And it's coming out awesome. Very nice. So that's a win. So I'll probably end up doing the rest this way. I like how that is. The rest is probably gonna smooth out pretty well. And then hitting this with just some primer will give us that nice finishing look, like how we did the fairing. So we will continue, but I'm not gonna probably sand everything. You guys get the point, right? Okay. Throw some primer on it, we'll never notice it. So it's awesome. So I'm gonna get the right stuff, knock it down with the 80, get all this smaller stuff cleaned up. So dolphin glaze. Stuff kicks ass, it's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna grab the deadly stuff, show you guys the difference, and maybe we can peel off some paint. Let's see, or we're gonna have to wait another 6 hours. Probably been about now 3 hours or so since I've let that sit, and let's see how that came out. All right, so here it is. Hasn't really changed that much. Some of it is starting to bubble, just like right here. You guys can, sure you guys can see that there. There we go. So that's starting to bubble, which is good. See if we can even scrape. Oh yeah, look at that. Woo. Very, look at that. Woo. Coming off. So that's, we got, like I said, we got about 3 hours. I'm willing to bet a little heat into it. Just let it sit over time. It should definitely do it more. So, I mean, it's gonna take a lot of time. Took off the decal pretty good. I'm just trying to be careful with this stuff because I don't want to get on anything else, including myself and my gloves. But stuff is strong, but it's starting to come off there. All right, so that's what it is right now for the paint remover. It's looking messy and nasty. I got to spray it down with water. Also get rid of it, but I'm gonna let it sit for its full time and then we'll get back to it, all right? The one that I had I thought was the worst. This one is the worst one. And I had these in storage, didn't realize that. That's okay. So if that works out well and that peels well, then I'll do the same thing for that cap. We'll see how that comes out, because the other side with all the dips and highs and lows seems about easier just to use that skim and then sand it down. So we're gonna prep these ready so we can get them primed up, shoot primer on them when the weather starts to turn a little bit warmer. And then from there, we're gonna shoot it red, pinstripe it, shoot it black, and it'll match the bike. I just don't wanna have them black. I wanna have them pinstriped and matched to the Arrow, which is the 88 FXRT. The fairing was done that way in the process. I've learned a lot of different tips and tricks to be able to make it go a little bit faster. So we'll see that as the time comes on, so we don't have to do so much sanding and go through all that process and good stuff, all right? But for now, that wraps me on this one, guys. I would greatly appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button, tap that like, press the notification, leave a comment below and tell me what you think. And for those that have already subscribed, thank you, and as always, stay free. Catch you guys later. Peace.